finishing chapter 1 of the Interior Castle, part 2 of chapter 1. Not long ago, a very learned man told me that souls who do not practice prayer are like people with paralyzed or crippled bodies, even though they have hands and feet. They cannot give orders to their hands and feet. Thus there are souls so ill and so accustomed to being involved in external matters that there is no remedy, nor does it seem they can enter within themselves. They are now so used to dealing always with the insects and vermin that are in the wall surrounding the castle that they have become almost like them, though they have so rich a nature and the power to converse with none other than God. There is no remedy. If these souls do not strive to understand and cure their great misery, they will be changed into statues of salt, unable to turn their heads to look at themselves, just as Lot's wife changed her, having turned her head. She's been excommunicated. She's been thrown out by the Inquisition. Okay. All right. Insofar as I can understand, the gate of entry to this castle is prayer and reflection. I don't mean to refer to mental more than vocal prayer. For since vocal prayer is prayer, it must be accompanied by reflection, a prayer in which a person is not aware of whom he is speaking to, what he is asking, who is asking and of whom. I do not call a prayer, however much the lips may move. Sometimes it will be so without this reflection, provided that the soul has these reflections. At other times, nevertheless, anyone who has the habit of speaking before God's majesty as though he were speaking to the slave without being careful to see how he is speaking, but saying whatever comes to his head and whatever he has learned from saying at other times, in my opinion, is not praying. Please, God, may no Christian pray in this way. Among yourselves, sisters, I hope in His Majesty that you will not do so, for the custom you have of being occupied with interior things is quite a good safeguard against falling and carrying on in this way like brute beast. Well, now we are not speaking to these crippled souls, for if the Lord himself doesn't come in order to order them to get up, as he did the man who waited at the side of the pool for 30 years, they are quite unfortunate and in serious danger. But we are speaking of other souls that in the end enter the castle. For even though they are very involved in the world, they have good desires, and sometimes, though only once in a while, they entrust themselves to our Lord and reflect on who they are, and although in a rather hurried fashion. During the period of a month, they will sometimes pray, but their minds are then filled with business matters that ordinarily occupy them. They are so attached to these things that where their treasure lies, their heart goes also. Sometimes they do put all these things aside in the self-knowledge and awareness that they are not proceeding correctly in order to get to the door is important. Finally, they enter the first lower rooms, but so many reptiles get in with them that they are prevented from seeing the beauty of the castle and from calming down. They have done quite a bit just by having entered. You may have been thinking, daughters, that this is irrelevant to you, since by the Lord's goodness you are not among these people. You'll have to have patience, for I wouldn't know how to explain my understanding of some interior things about prayer if not in this way. And may it even please the Lord that I succeed in saying something, for what I want to explain to you is very difficult to understand. Without experience, if you have experience, you will see that one cannot avoid touching upon things that please God, though His mercy, through His mercy, do not pertain to us. End of chapter 1. I'm just going to read this first section of chapter 2, but not continue. Before going on, I want to say that you should consider what does it mean to this so brilliantly shining, beautiful castle, this pearl from the Orient, this tree of life planted in the very living waters of life that is in God, to fall into mortal sin. There's no greater danger than, nor anything more obscure and black. You shouldn't want to know anything else than the fact that although the very sun that gave the soul so much brilliance and beauty is still in the center, beauty is still in the center, the soul is as though it were not there to share in these things. You shouldn't want to know anything else than the fact that although the very sun that gave the soul so much brilliance and beauty is still in the center, the soul is as though it were not there to share these things, yet it is as capable of enjoying His Majesty as is crystal capable of reflecting the sun's. The sun's what? Brilliance. Nothing helps such a soul as a result. All the good works it might do while in mortal sin are fruitless for the attainment of glory. Since these works do not proceed from that principle, which is God, who is the cause of our virtues, being really virtue, and are separated from Him, they cannot be pleasing in His sight, since after all, the intention of anyone who commits a mortal sin is to please the devil, not God. The poor soul becomes darkness itself because the devil is darkness itself. We read the finish to this part 2 of chapter 1 with just a bit of chapter 2. Reading on Easter Day 2019. Seemed appropriate. It's the Catholic Easter, the Western Easter, for reading from the Western class spirituality, the interior castle. Translator. Well, probably Kavanaugh, Paulist Press. Spanish mystic. 1515 to 1582. The body is the temple of God and has inside of it the interior castle